Hello, everyone. Let's get started. So welcome to the information session for the School of Justice and Community Development. My name is Laura Gunning, and I am a student recruitment officer based out of our Sutherland campus in Peterborough. I will be your moderator for the day. Before we begin, I would like to respectfully acknowledge that Fleming College sits on the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe and Mississauga peoples. We offer our gratitude to our First Nations for their care of our earth and our relations. With me today, I have Molly Westland, who is the Dean of the School of Justice and Community Development, as well as Lindsay Landry, Admissions Officer. So I just wanted to run over the format of the event very quickly. I see that we have lots of students that have joined us, so that's great. So we did, as you know, and you found out about this information session by an email, and we did ask you for your input in terms of what questions you wanted to have answered today. So we have collected 14 FAQs for the session, so we will start with those. You do also have the option of sending in a question through the chat, and I will ask that you just give us a chance to get through the questions before you start typing in anything in the chat. And please, if you do have a question, just send it in once so that I can make sure that that I catch your question. So that said, I'm going to turn things over to Molly for a quick welcome, and then we will get started with questions.
Well, thank you, Laura. Welcome to you all, and I want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule to join us today. And I want to thank you for your interest in the School of Justice and Community Development. The School of Justice and Community Development has a long history of providing high-quality education in a large array of community development and justice disciplines. These careers have never been more important and in demand than during this current global pandemic. I'm confident that your Fleming College education will position you well to become a highly skilled practitioner, purposefully trained to assist in community recovery.
Wonderful. Thank you, Molly. And the first question is for you. Could you please tell us what course delivery will look like in the School of Justice and Community Development for the upcoming fall semester?
Sure thing, Laura. So our delivery structure will look a little different this fall. Our highly skilled faculty teams have been reviewing and revitalizing the curriculum to find the most effective and creative ways to deliver content in this alternative fashion that we are encountering right now. There will be supports available for student learnings in alternative formats while ensuring that program learning outcomes are met. The justice programs, for instance, encourage a strong synchronous component to your learning. For most of the justice programs, you'll attend regular scheduled alternatively delivered classes wherever possible. There will be some other required courses from some of the other departments within the college that may be entirely online. This will require you to have excellent time management skills and organization of your weekly routine. You will have some required courses, one being Strategies to Success, and it will give you weekly tips on how to stay connected and on task. You will also be supported in the development of learning strategies to assist in creating strong studentship and professionalism. Programs recommend that you start by attending all your orientation sessions and classes so that you can be aware of your expectations. So that was most of the justice programs that participate in the Common First Semester. Our community development programs have a similar philosophy regarding the importance of relationship building and maintenance. They stress that these are just as important as academics. For example, the CYW program or CYC program understands how significant connecting and engaging is for all students entering the programs. So establishing a sense of connection with faculty and fellow students in the program and across the campus is a very important part of your educational experience.
Wonderful. Thank you. The next question is also for you, Molly. How can we reassure students that program quality is not compromised when it would likely move to an online format for some of the fall semester?
Yes, well, program quality is of utmost importance to us. Many of our programs have been awarded full accreditations from their particular accrediting bodies. These accreditations are a sign of confidence that we've met the stringent criteria of excellence in teaching and learning. The Community Development Suite of programs includes, for example, the Child and Youth Work Program. It has been recently awarded an accreditation by the Child and Youth Accreditation Board of Canada. We're only one of 8 CYC programs globally to achieve this accreditation. So we're very proud of that. Although online learning is not the norm for most of our programs, our faculty and staff have adapted in many ways. The courses in the program will include a combination of synchronous and asynchronous delivery, which simply means the classes might be offered at a specific time or date where you will sign in, or they may be provided with asynchronous activity, which means it may happen at your time and potentially taped for later. So faculty will potentially have set times to connect and ask questions with you and to discuss concepts and assignments in more detail. We will make use of discussion boards to allow for sharing of ideas and provide opportunities for students to get to know one another. Your faculty are experienced educators and have practical experience that they will bring to your courses with real life examples for the concepts that they're teaching. For the Justice programs, you will participate in the Common First Semester, and we'll be holding sessions on Orientation Day to make sure that you're familiar with the online expectations before your classes begin. There will be 1-hour support labs each week, specifically designed to support you in managing D2L, which is our learning management system, where you'll receive the information relative to your classes, and WebEx. These are the 2 primary ways that we'll be using to communicate with you. As well, each subject will have office hours devoted to drop-in questions and assistance. We believe that a strong emphasis on synchronous learning will help support the relationship building and live time support with curriculum and online learning issues. All instructors as well will be monitoring their email regularly to support you in any questions you have. In the community development area, many of the programs are no strangers to online classes. This has created faculty who are experienced and excited in this modality of learning. Within the CYW, for example, prior to COVID, we already had a total of 7 courses that were delivered online between semesters 2 to 6. Our students and grads will tell you that this great ability to be flexible and enhances their abilities anywhere in the world. What might be different in the fall this year, for example, is that all of the courses will be online for the CYC program. And some of these would have been typically in person. But be assured that the goal for all faculty is to make the transition to online learning for students as straightforward and clear as possible. Tutorial sessions have been developed at the college to assist you in navigating any of these online platforms. In addition, faculty will guide the students in step-by-step processes, beginning for their specific courses to support their learning.
Thank you, Molly. The next question is for you as well. What can we say to students who have concerns about not being able to meet the non-academic requirements for their programs in time for the fall start?
Right. Well, that's a really tough one. Right now, because of the COVID situation, it is very difficult for us to get many of our non-academic requirements, which are important for our clinical and field placement courses. So what we're doing is we're encouraging to students to try very hard to get their NARS before they start in September in their local area, doing things that require that are able to get them remotely, such as your WIMIS and your AODA. We encourage students to try to get other NARS that can't be done remotely as soon as it's safe to do so. And these are, for instance, your police check, your immunizations, etc. Please watch our website for our programs, where we will post information as soon as we have it. Our NARS coordinator, Jan, will be sending out emails to students in regards to some of these changes. As well, we're monitoring local placement sites for their ability to try to support us in this, and as well if they have any changes that they before we go in.
Thank you. I also just want to point out to the students who are joining us right now that we're going to be referring to email addresses, names of staff at Fleming, as well as websites. All of this information is going to be presented in a key contacts document that will be posted on the same website that you used to join us on this session today. And this session is being recorded and will be available for you to visit again if you so wish to do. So I will move on to another question for you, Molly. Well, what about if a student who lives several hours away from the Peterborough campus, from Sutherland, what happens if instruction shifts from online to in-class? What housing options will the student then have?
Sure. Well, we're closely monitoring the guidelines from the Ford government and the Ministry of Health surrounding all decisions made about gatherings. Therefore, a decision has not been made on how we will operate our residents this fall. We will be adhering to the guidelines set out by the Ministry of Health to ensure the optimal health and safety for students and staff. We will be providing updates on our resident portal where you can learn of any new decisions surrounding residents. And one of those links are available on your link document, Laura. So in the event that students do not secure a room in residence, we do have a number of off-campus housing available options for you to access as well.
Thank you, Molly. I'm going to switch over to you now, Lindsay. Could you speak a little bit about deferrals? We've been getting lots of emails from students wondering if that is an option for them.
Sure. So the request for deferral to our programs is not a tradition that is offered by Fleming. However, we're prepared to welcome students this fall in an alternate delivery format and have dedicated time and planning to offer a seamless experience for our students while ensuring learning outcomes are not compromised. In the event a student is no longer interested in joining us this fall, we would be happy to consider your application for the next intake. For domestic students, if you're interested in attending in the winter or May of 2021, you'll simply need to add this choice to your OCAS application and we'll get back to you shortly. Applications for fall 2021 will open at OCAS in October. If a student makes the decision to defer, your seat would not be guaranteed and applications will be considered along with all other new students applying. So this could potentially result in an increase of waitlisted program options. For international students, if you're interested in deferring, please reach out to international admissions at internationaladmissions@flemingcollege.ca for information on this process.
Thank you. The next question that we have is also for you, Lindsay.
Okay.
Will there be a tuition reduction, and would you be able to speak to us a little bit about tuition payment deadlines?
Okay, so for the fall 2020, the tuition fees will not be reduced. The learning outcomes and curriculum expectations will remain the same. The delivery schedule will be adjusted to accommodate physical distancing protocols due to COVID-19. For courses that rely on field trips, practicum, and applied projects, schedules have been adjusted and these course requirements will be delivered later in the semester. Additional adjustments have been made to the course delivery schedule for some programs, and this allows for smaller group sizes where labs and field work are required early in the fall semester. For our domestic students beginning in the fall, there is a non-refundable and non-transferable $250 deposit due on June 15th. This usually is a $500 deposit. However, they have reduced it for this academic year. The balance of the tuition is due August 7th. For our new international students, please follow the fee deadlines outlined on your offer letter. I just also wanted to give a little information in regards to OSAP. The OSAP application is open now, and this year the government is also providing additional funding in grants, so it might be a good idea to apply if you're interested. The Fleming College bursary application has not opened and it will open on the first day of classes. If you do have any questions regarding OSAP grants or bursaries, please contact finaid@flemingcollege.ca and they can assist you with any questions you might have.
Great, thank you. The next question is also for you, Lindsay. Will there be sports and recreation opportunities in the fall?
So at this point in time, we're not going to be charging the athletic facility fee for the fall, but we are working with our city partners for students to have access to the Peterborough Sports and Wellness Center and the Lindsay Recreation Complex on a month-to-month basis at a student rate.
Great, thank you. And one last question. When will timetables be available for students starting in September?
Okay, so schedules will be built for you and will be available on the first page of your student center in August. Before receiving your timetable, two things do need to be done. You will need to check to make sure all your conditions have been met if you have conditions, and the balance of your tuition for that semester will need to be paid, or if you have OSAP, that OSAP will need to be confirmed to cover the balance. If you're unsure what conditions you have, or if you received a conditional offer, please email us at admissions@flemingcollege.ca and we can look into this for you. Um, an example of a conditional offer would be someone who's still enrolled in high school currently, and for their program, it's the OSSD along with, let's say, a grade 12 college level English. In order to have met that condition, we would need to see a transcript showing that those requirements have been completed. For our domestic students as well, a few days after accepting your Fleming College offer, you should see a fee notification, which will also be available on the first page of your student center under the Your Fee Notification tab. This will provide you with a full breakdown of your tuition and ancillary fees for that semester. For our new international students, you will not have a fee notification. Your fee information is included in your offer letter.
Thank you. And just to confirm that timetables are built for students. So students don't have to log in and individually select courses to build their timetable, correct?
Correct. Their first semester schedule will be built for them.
Great, thank you. And switching over to you now, Molly. Are there resources to help students learn in an online environment?
Yes, there are. So our library and tutoring and academic skills services, in partnership with Accessible Education Services and as well our learning design and support team, have developed a new online resource for students that covers all facets of online learning. This web module will help you to navigate essential skills, strategies, and resources that you'll need to thrive in the online environment. It will include things like how to set up your study space, how to navigate D2L, once again, is that learning management system that I talked about, how to connect with a tutor, how to deliver great online presentations, because they may be something that you'll have to do for your program, and many things more. And I know, Laura, you're going to put the URL up for to attach the sessions for the students to check into.
We will.
Great, thanks.
The next question is also for you, Molly. What counseling, wellness, and mental health supports are available for students?
Sure. Well, counseling is available to engage with students in email, phone, and video conferencing. And for students who also need someone to talk to about issues that are impacting their academic success, personal wellness counselors are available. Personal wellness counselors Personal wellness counselors are available by phone for faculty or students by calling our Fleming number, our usual 705-749-5530 number, and with the extension 1440. And that will be as well for you in your contacts list.
Yes, thank you. So if a student is coming in from high school with an IEP, how do they access educational supports?
So if you have a documented medical, physical, psychological, or learning disability, you may be eligible for accommodation that can help you succeed academically. If you visit the website for Accessible Education Services, which will be available on that list as well, they can help you. There are accessibility counselors available, and students can book an appointment by using those links.
Thank you. Can students access health services, Molly?
Yes, student health services are currently staffed and available for student consultations. You're advised to call health services with your questions, and where appropriate, nurses can help connect students to our college physicians via telephone. And as well, you're welcome to leave a message at the number that will be provided in the contact list, and they will return your call during business hours.
Great, thank you. How about tutoring? If delivery is being moved to an online format, how will students access tutoring?
Well, tutoring is certainly available. There are a variety of skills, so tutoring and learning strategies such as study skills, time management skills, personal organizations, those things will still be available. And they're available by WebEx, and they're booked through our online tutoring booking service. Our coordinator, Catherine Conway, or Laura Gibson will assist you with those, and those contacts will be available. Those services are still very well maintained and accessible for students.
Thank you. Molly, what supports are in place for Indigenous students who identify as First Nations, either status or non-status, Métis or Inuit?
Or there is to continue one-on-one student advising by phone, email, or WebEx. And the counselors will provide transitional support for new and graduating students, cultural workshops and resources. There's access to elders and traditional knowledge holders. And as well, there's advocacy and referral services for both on-campus and off-campus activities. As well, they will be creating WebEx drop-ins. And Mary McLeod Beaver is the contact number and contact person, and she will be available on that contact list.
Thank you, Molly. One last question for you, Lindsay. How will students know what else they need to do before they start classes in the fall?
Okay, so it looks like student experience is going to be holding an online orientation event for students attending this fall. We'll be in touch regarding the details later this summer, but it looks like they're aiming for sometime around the week of July 13th to put this on.
Thank you. So Lindsay, could you just provide us with a few overviews of recent changes that OSAP has announced? I know that you touched briefly on a couple of them when you were talking about tuition fees.
Yeah, so there's been several changes to the 2020-2021 OSAP application this year. For a full list of the changes and details, I would suggest going to osap.gov.on.ca, or you can always contact the financial folks at finaid@flemingcollege.ca to get some more details on that.
Thank you. So that brings the collected questions, the FAQs, to an end. So if anybody would like to ask questions, please proceed to do so in the chat. And while you're doing that, I'm just going to ask Molly if there's anything that she perhaps wants to add. If not, I'm just going to wait to read a couple of questions if they do come in.
So really, the main thing I would like to add is that if you have program-specific questions that you'd like to ask, please ask those questions to our program coordinators. You'll find on the program web pages for each program listed, I'm pretty sure it's on the right-hand side, it will have your program coordinators' contact information. And those folks are really enveloped right now in developing your online courses for fall, and providing potentially any activities and ideas for placements, etc. So they're the people to really reach out to if you've got program-specific questions.
Wonderful. So we do have several questions, which is great. So I will start with the first one for you, Molly. To clarify, please, students will be physically attending Peterborough campus as well as some online courses. Is that correct?
No. In fall, at present, we will be physically online. So what when I was speaking, I was talking about synchronous delivery, which means that potentially, depending on your program, there might be online activities that have a time component. So there will be a timetable created for each course pretty much. And in that, we'll have time for your lecture and the different components of your course where faculty may use that time to have meetings directly with you as a group, a large group or a small group. So at present, we are not physically going to be on campus at least for the front half. Most of our classes we're planning on online for the entire semester. There may be the odd one in some programs, but I don't believe any that I know of right now where we're actually being on site for any of these programs.
Thank you. I'm wondering if you could help me with the next question, Lindsay. Is there a grace period to defer without financial or academic penalty should online delivery format not be the right fit for a student?
So we would probably look at that as an individual basis, but what they would need to do is go on, as we previously talked about, is go on to their OCAS application and just add that new term that they're wishing for. So let's say winter or spring to their OCAS application. But that's really what we're looking at. But if they do have some specific questions, we could look at their program and see when it's offered next and see what we could do if they want to email us at admissions@flemingcollege.ca.
Great, thank you. There's a question here. What if a student paid $500 because I got an email saying $500 instead of $250 as the deposit?
So that deposit would just come off their tuition anyways. So it would just be minused off. So they would just pay less for the remaining balance.
Thank you. I do see here a few questions from international students that are joining us, and that's great. I just want to let you know that International Student Services is planning on holding an information session for international students sometime next week. They're just confirming the date and time, and you should be receiving an email inviting you to attend that information session where they will speak to you about arrival in Canada, about issues or questions about your study permit, postgraduate work permit, etc. So I just wanted to let you know that person that wrote those questions about international students in the chat here, that those will be answered next week. I do have another question for you here, Molly, regarding NARS, non-academic requirements. Will students receive a package with all the NARS and other info? And if so, approximately when?
I'm not sure that a package is really what you'll be getting, but there will be emails sent out by our NARS coordinator. You can go on the NARS website for the School of Justice and Community Development, I believe, and there should be the NARS requirements listed there. The other option is to check with your program coordinator, who are very well versed in the NARS that are required for each program.
Thank you. Molly, could you confirm if online learning, online delivery still applies to students in the firefighting program, pre-service firefighter?
Yes, there will be some online learning, yes. And potentially later on, as public health determinations change, as the situation with COVID changes, we may get to a point where we can have some lab time.
Great, thank you. And that's a nice segue into the question that we have. The Premier just announced phase 2 of opening for areas like Peterborough. If in a few weeks phase 3 is implemented, is there a possibility that the fall semester will start in class? That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's something
Yes.
I can't really answer.
No.
That's not something that we are exploring at this time, and we'll have to just see what happens at that time.
Thank you. I just wanted to mention again that there's questions here about building timetables. If you're a semester 1 student, your timetable will be built for you. So that is not anything that you need to log in and create yourself. I'm just searching here for some more questions. There are some questions about residence here as well regarding deposit and room assignments. We are hoping to receive a final decision in terms of what is going to happen to residents and what it's going to look like in the fall. So you will be contacted by our residence staff when this decision is made. And let me see what else here. And I just wanted to confirm again with you that there's going to be a quick contact sheet, if you want to call it. It will be a document, and it will be posted on the same website that you access this link through. So one question for you, Molly, about police foundations. Will students be eventually able to do in-class or in-field work and studying?
Once again, that's one of those million-dollar questions. The assumption is that at some time we will get back out into the world, shall we say. But at present, we can only go by what public health and the province of Ontario tell us we can do.
Thank you. Lindsay, I'm wondering if you could help me with this question. Will students receive an email confirmation regarding the $250 deposit?
They don't receive a confirmation that we've received it, but if they log into their student portal, they can view their account summary there.
Great. And there's another question for you as well, Lindsay. If you have conditions on your offer of acceptance, what date do they need to be completed by?
So they would need to be completed before the start of school. But if they have some questions or concerns, they can email us at admissions@flemingcollege.ca, and we'd be happy to take a look specifically at their account and just go through it with them.
Thank you. So I'm just confirming again, Molly, that all programs in the School of Justice and Community Development will be delivered online for the fall semester. I'm getting individual questions about fitness and health promotion, fitness aspect of police foundations, about custom border services. To start, all programs will be online, correct?
Yes, to start, all programs will be online. As I said, if you want to check with your specific program coordinators for specific components of your program, but at present, the plan is to start all programs at Fleming online. And as I said, we will watch provincial guidelines as they change.
Thank you. I see a lot of questions about residents, and I'm sorry, I just have to repeat myself a little bit, that we are hoping to make a decision really soon, within the next couple of weeks, and what that will be communicated to students. And I believe that that will be in time for final tuition payment should anybody decide to change their mind.
Laura, I noticed
Yes.
a few in regards to the tuition deposit. One is regarding if they're an OSAP student, if they have to pay that. And yes, you would still pay the $250 deposit if you're an OSAP student. As well, they're wondering where they need to pay that. And they can pay the deposit on their student portal. There should be a little link there, say make a payment. You can do that with credit card or debit card. You will have to, if you're using your debit card, switch it over to the Visa payment part of that. But they can make it right through their student center. You have to key in the amount. It doesn't go in for you. You have to put in the amount. Otherwise, you can make that payment through your online banking, and you would just add Fleming College as a bill payment and use your student number for the account number.
Great. Thank you, Lindsay. Molly, there's a question here regarding ECE, early childhood education. I'm not sure that we have an answer for it, but I think we should address it. If the surrounding area schools are starting back on campus, if you want to call it that, will ECE students then be allowed to do their field work or placements?
I'm sorry, once again, it's one of those things that it's not necessarily tit for tat. When one thing happens, it's not always that we have access right away. It will once again go by what the province is telling us as post-secondary institutions. We will be governed by that. So, unfortunately, I can't say what's going to happen, but we certainly are hoping so.
Yes. So this is a good question. Due to a decrease in students attending in September because of COVID-19, will tuition fees increase? Lindsay, do you want to answer that?
So at this point in time, the fees have not increased, and we haven't reduced them either.
Right. So there's lots of questions that regarding orientation. So something like welcome day. So you should be receiving information on that, emails coming your way. So this information session is the sort of the beginning of our reaching out to our incoming students and providing you with information. So we may not have an answer to all the questions that you have today, but we're just asking for your patience and that you bear with us. So as Molly said, please contact your program coordinators directly. They are here to help you. If you're wondering who your program coordinator is and what their email address is. If you go to flemingcollege.ca, then you click on full-time programs, you will see a list from A to Z of all programs. You click on your individual program, and then on the right-hand side, you will see your coordinator's name and their contact email as well. If there are questions that you felt perhaps were not answered today, you can always send them to ask@flemingcollege.ca. That comes to our student recruitment department, and we will do our best to answer those questions or forward them to the appropriate person. There is one last question here regarding academic programs, Molly. I was wondering if you could answer it. Will online learning affect eligibility for a future graduate when applying to organizations such as the OPP or the CBSA?
No, I don't believe it would. Certainly, the online education that you will be provided will be very high quality. It will as well ensure that the learning outcomes of the courses will still be met. So I don't believe that online learning would in any way impact your abilities for future employment.
Thank you. And just in closing, please send any other questions that you may have to ask us at flemingcollege.ca. Reach out to your program coordinators. As we said, this is the beginning of our communication with you. We will provide you information on, there's going to be a town hall, a virtual information session for student services coming up shortly, as well as how we're going to welcome you virtually to the campus. So stay tuned for future questions. So with that, we're going to put an end to this information session. Thank you all for joining us today, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.